ENCE. One of the ones who doesn't do as good, FaZe and Winstrike, and those are two teams that actually need those points, and they need to start gathering them from this game right here.
Currently sat at 7th and 8th. Thank you very much, gentlemen, as it is time to get into our first game here of day number 2 for week 3 for the PUBG Europe League. We are heading to Miramar to find out where that plane's going and find out where the circle's going as well. Will it be hard shifts? We're about to find out with Sims and Demon.
Thank you very much, guys, and here we go. Game 2 and week number 3, 46 match. It's been a long road, Rich, but we're getting there. 60 games in total, and we are starting to see a gap form between the top 3 and below. Who, though, will be pushing for those places? Yesterday, Team Liquid had a pretty good day, 41 points.
Yeah.
Jokers had a cracking day. Digital Athletics themselves had a brilliant day as well. There's a lot of teams from that middle of the pack that have pushed up. You know, we were all talking about Vitality, about NIP, maybe even about FaZe trying to make that push, but it's the Jokers that made the late surge yesterday that certainly surprised everyone.
I suppose when you look at how good of a day Digital Athletics and Red Diamonds did, and okay, maybe they're not necessarily, you would count them at the moment in the running for that top 4 position, but if they're doing well and all the other people in the top region are doing bad, then it makes it even harder, and it allows that middle pack just to be able to kind of creep up unannounced. And I like how you've touched on the Jokers, because 280 points in total, they're only 11 shy of NIP and potentially stealing that London spot.
Yeah, and you got to think of obviously how the Jokers performed in Minsk. You know, a bit of a surprise for everyone, the fact that they topped it, and they topped it by quite a margin in Minsk as well. You know, obviously we've been talking about ENCE and G2 that are up in that top 4 right now and have been consistent throughout so far in the PEL, but the Jokers topped both of those teams in Minsk. Well, Circle, it's back down in the southeast, isn't it? It does have the island in there, but I think we should be safe from it, judging by the fact it's not far, far, far over the east. Normally, if it's going that way, you'd see Impala kind of at the center of it. It does mean that it's that standard field. We've seen a lot of Circle finishes in this area over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and this is where you have to go away to the drawing board and say, okay, we've had these circles where there's essentially an essence and an area of land that's completely locked off that we can't enter. There's no way that you can get in from the eastern side of it because it's all water. You'd have to put money on it banking going away from the island. If it did, it would be insane, hard shifts, and they'd have to go all the way to the east. So you'd have to bank on those fields where I think we've had now 4 between Graveyard and 3 just below La Bendita. We were speaking about this one yesterday. Potentially it might go there, where ENCE have been kind of farming people quite literally in those fields. They picked up quite a lot of points and a fair amount of decent wins. But again, G2, you won't be going anywhere near the north. Maybe raise your edge, squeeze in on that northern road, which they've done a fair few amount of times before. FaZe have been pretty happy in the fact that they've not decided to overextend over to, you know, somewhere like Comisera, Monte Nuevo. You'd expect them to be lingering down in these lower parts. Obviously, the detriment to them is there's no major cities or compounds where they are. So they're kind of scraping things together, and how the economy and how the loot's going to be going is a different question for them. And
if I'm not mistaken, this is identical to yesterday's last circle, that hard shifted 3 times down south to that sort of compound, and it's where obviously the game that the Jokers won, the final game of the day.
It's almost that, yeah, it is really, because we were pretty much having the almost same conversation, weren't we, about maybe pre-predicting where this one was going to go. And
because Liquid pulled in that compound that's just south of La Bandita, where it has finished a bunch of times. Liquid were sat there, and it's probably going to be a route they'll go again because it's a straightforward cross. Looks like the Knights already on the move. Vitality is starting to mobilize as well. Expect to see Team Liquid move in any minute because we're already at 3:36, and some of these teams have been going very early on. G2, they're just regrouping for now. We'll see exactly where they go. Of course, with the circle as it is, you mentioned, it does make it very hard, but it's interesting when you see that hard shift. Jokers are the furthest from it, and they came out on top yesterday.
Yeah, it kind of went their way, thankfully. I mean, they fought for it in the end, right? They certainly took their fights and took their gun battles. You could say they had a bit of circle luck on the side, but then again, everyone gets a bit of luck. They managed to pick up the win, which was a long time coming. And to be in 5th position, you've definitely got to be happy with the performances that you've managed to come out with. The one that I want to see rotate, which actually is happening on the right-hand side of your screen, I'm going to say I hope ENCE get themselves back together here because they are rather spread. You can see that Vitality are already on the early rotation. It looks like ENCE might actually center up here and take the field and watch over from that miniature compound, unless it's just a pick-up place, but we've still got one of the players, Rustamar, out on his own. Trafeli will rotate back and maybe find a better place, but I think potentially ENCE is setting up here to get the bits and bats, get the final bit of loot, but maybe even catch a couple of people off guard.
There we go. Closing in on 5 minutes. Everybody is moving into the center point. Try and find what they can. Team Liquid taking standard path. It's a nice... it's a road that... It is on the map these days, some of these maps. I know there was a period of time where some of these roads didn't appear on the minimap, but it is on there nowadays. And it's bouncing the way in there. Rustamar, a little rough with the vehicles, but they are keeping them safe and tucked in as much as they can. Team Liquid are coming in the distance. Vitality you can see off in the compound, standard compound. All of these guys, you know, they do tend to go for compounds they've used a lot of times before. Vitality, we've seen them in there a number of times. I definitely remember Red Diamonds coming down the hill behind them. TSM making their moves. They're also coming down from the north.
I suppose there's a positive and a negative side to that one. The positive being is, you know, why fix what's not broken? If things are working for you and you're not dying on rotation and you do have these individual places where the kind of friendly rules, so to speak, you know, the gentleman's rules where, okay, well, we know that a certain team will be lingering here or a certain team likes to move past here. We won't bother going into it. There's no point in losing a player this early on. But then there's also another factor that teams can become actually quite predictable. Even we've said a few times where individuals say, oh, well, he might do this now and change this up, and then all of a sudden, I remember one specifically, I said, I bet Mexico, it was on the Erangel map, I said, okay, this flight path, Mexico, go over to these compounds. Lo and behold, Drayden pulls up, easy point for FaZe, job done. And
sees it coming, yeah.
I think you have to, you know, expect the unexpected, especially on a map like this where the terrain can force these circles into some really weird and wonderful positions, and more importantly, because it's so open, any amount of cover you can find is absolutely vital.
Digital Athletics, they started off so well yesterday with a win. And as you mentioned, they had a really strong point score as well. First, second, third, fourth, and sixth. They didn't quite hit the fifth at the end there. Gave Hyro a disappointing look when I saw him in the stairwell. And said, why did you do that? But they've actually managed to rotate really well. Yeah, oh, not one. They were delighted. They had a blinding day yesterday to the point that they're actually only 50 points off fourth place now. You know, another couple of days like that, and they could certainly launch themselves in there. But they've come from Commissera, gone south side of Los Leones, close to the city, and they've actually managed to tuck themselves in there and got in there before FaZe did. That shouldn't happen.
I mean, you don't necessarily know what the loot's like on the side of FaZe. When you're down there in those rocky hillsides and there's no major cities and it's all just broken compounds and garages, you got to take what you can find, to be honest with you. I mean, they found themselves a little compound, so they can at least get in there, and there might be some extra gear. I'm sorry, but I can't help but laugh every time I just see a bus just turning up. It's just MBS in the front. All right, kids, it's time to go. Get in the car. Let's move.
It's the Scooby Mobile. It's got a couple of other names as well, but we won't go near that. Nookie, he's outside. This is way outside the zone. The rest of his team are way down in Commissera, so he's miles away at the moment. So he's just waiting. I don't know whether his vehicle was shot to pieces there, but NIP will pass on by. They've took a really big swing, you know, out west from San Martin.
So when watching the rest of the teams actually rotate, they did clash heads with the Joke. I think it was either Jokers and Winstrike or NIP. It was kind of like a three-way up in the top corner. They were all taking a couple of pop shots at each other, so it has slowed down all the teams. Winstrike are the first ones to the circle, but as you mentioned, Nookie's unfortunately left out in the blue to kind of hope that everyone passes on by and won't camp his corpse, essentially, because they could hold him at gunpoint. NIP might get rather unlucky if they do go past the roadblock that Winstrike have essentially set up on the westernmost furthest road here.
They're taking a very obvious path as well. They're going to kind of run straight into it. Oh, Dimmy's just backed away. They've just got in the vehicle and just gave up on the camp. They were holding it for so long, but Jorski and Dimmy back on the bike, ramping it towards Dixu in the distance. NIP about to pass on by below. There you go, you can see Vada Miraku leading the charge.
Might take a few shots, or honestly, I mean, yeah, you can see it on the map, they're already firing at them, but that might be not the best play in the world, because you are outside in the blue and you are essentially giving away your position here, so if NIP want to
set up another camp, return.
Exactly, they could make something happen.
That's more like it. Look at that. A centered circle. That's what we like to see. And we were talking about how it does tend to pull away from cities, so Los Leones being there, it could try and shift away from it. Of course, it could go there. We don't know where the shift could take it next circle.
I think with the trifecta, if you would say, of three cities there, a triangle's worth, you'd probably expect it to go to the middle if it were going to bop and bounce between them all. I think right now where ENCE are sat, where we have seen around 4 circles go there.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty good.
TSM come out on top in them as well a number of times, actually. Actually, no, tell a lie. They're further north, aren't they, the TSM
They're
circles?
more around where Rory is, which is around the Minas Generales area, I believe. I'll double check that one for you, though. I'm pretty sure that's where they had them.
Just going to be moving slowly in, of course, there behind Digital Athletics and Na'Vi, so they have to take the turns. You can see DA, it's kind of like this domino effect. Once one team moves, the second one moves in behind them, and then it's just step by step by step, they all close in. It's a case of does anyone get sandwiched in between. Iro, we saw yesterday, crept into the top 5 kill leaders. Certainly has been a player that had a lot of people talking about him prior to Minsk, proved his point, proved his worth, and has continued to show that here. Yesterday, played fantastically well. The main flanker for Digital Athletics in a number of those close circle finishes. I
will stand correct. TSM more, it's the water treatment area because they loop from Hacienda, so they're more further north. The ones down here are the ones that ENCE have racked up, and it's those killing fields, to be fair.
And look at the spot. It's perfect. I mean, this is where they drop, right? This is their home ground. You've got to be winning those games when it is your home turf.
Who's in the most difficult spot here? Let's take a look. The
Jokers are in a sticky spot. They're outside Los Leones edge-wise. Winstrike also in a tricky spot because they've got to kind of wedge through M19 or...
The ones that may have a problem, to be honest with you, is the Knights. It depends. I mean, what alternatives do you have? If you go to the north, you're going to... The TSM set up in entrapment on that roadside. If you go down south, you might have to pass by Team Liquid. La Bandita, you'd expect the circle not even to go near it, in theory. But you do have Leones just down below, then Impala to the right-hand side as well. So I think at the moment, it's looking pretty good for ENCE. Time will tell. It's one of those stalemate moments. We're in that point of the game where everyone's got a decent location. There's enough room to maneuver. There's no, we have a lot of 100% near enough, 90% land in play. So it's kind of a sit down, hold on to your pants because the next shift might push everyone into one another.
Well, G2 won the scrims here. We'll see whether that confirms the usual unluckiness. That is, they tend to go out early. Whoever wins scrims.
It's insane what a night and day scenario they've had from week number 1.
Well, they did all right yesterday, though. It wasn't too bad yesterday. They sort of found their feet, and that's kind of all they really need to do, right? They need to just confirm their points, keep on going, and just stay steady. And it's the same with Team Liquid. Obviously, they had a really good day, and that's kind of starting to set that top 3, the ENCE, Team Liquid, and G2 apart from everyone else. NIP in 4th place at the moment. A lot of teams certainly within range. Gustav's taking quite a few hits here from Raise Your Edge that have obviously come down from the north, and Gustav showing himself a little too much out the ditch there. It does go that way, so as expected, with the trifecta of cities, you talked about it, it will pull towards that center point, and ENCE have read this so well, but so have TSM. I've seen teams from that ditch winning these games.
It can happen, because you have cover on both sides, and the amount of times you'll see a cabin set up there, and you'll have the tree that you can play off the back of, so you can deny line of sight with the vehicle on one side. And this will be the tell. Ooh, okay. Is that a tire gun on Samtip? No, it's just a wobbly goal.
Bad placement. Oh, they're getting away with it. They're fighting at Samty. They're shooting at Samty. That he got away with murder there. Stopped dead in a field. Could get lit up, but where are they going to go? They're going to go for the ditch. So this is, remember Digital Athletics were in this ditch, and Team Liquid were in that house before?
Yeah, this is the one where you had a good old standoff, and Chris was just chilling on his own. We see our first victim of the day. Unfortunately not. It's not going to be a good start for him.
I mean, it is officially a dad joke, right?
2 of them moving up forward now. Jazza, Nasus, grenades are out in hand. Ibby and Gemty have already begun here. This is a good push from Liquid. They are working off the backside of the hill.
Meanwhile, FaZe and Navi are going at it down the bottom there as well, because keep your eye on both screens. Well, keep your eyes, see what's going on as Nasus tries to get around there. As you mentioned, a bit third party, and ENCE are going to shoot Team Liquid in the back as they try and go for the hillside. Meanwhile, we see 80 gets the Dovnik down. That's in the picture in the bottom. That's a good nade going past. They'll tell you what, a couple of cook nades could finish Navi and FaZe. Oh, that is the one they needed. Recrent finds Mexi, catches them both down. 80 flushed out, and now Recrent comes in and flushes them out. FaZe Clan, well, we talked about how they needed a great day. Now they're down to 1.
How many times do we see Uber, the last man standing for FaZe, and once again, straight off the bat, he's in no man's land on his own, just playing for placement. Things just do not seem to be going well for FaZe at all. this could potentially be another 16th place, and I think they've had a good amount of them so far. We'll move back onto the fight with Na'Vi. They need to continue this one. They will try and hunt down that last player, but Winstrike in the back. They know they have to go through Na'Vi if they want to punch inside this circle.
Team Liquid are 1 grenade away from going 16th here. They are so compact right now.
They're kind of protected in a weird way. It went wrong for them because they lost a player to ENCE, who had the line of sight as they made the push, and they waited until they were on top of the hill. They held their gun for a while.
It was the exact same situation at Team Liquid. They couldn't push out of that compound down the hill to deal with Digital Athletics in the ditch because there was somebody in that compound. You can see Red Diamonds and both ENCE are both laying that fire, that triangle of fire across towards Vitality's hill.
And now ENCE move on to Sixmo as he tries to move into a different position to give Digital Athletics maybe a head of the snake, so to speak. But because they are center map and because they have those compounds, they have so many lines of sight, they can just literally shoot anything that moves.
Prince being caught out, TSM getting involved, but here goes Razor Edge. They push in, Vard been found and caught. He gets taken down, Miruku back in the car. He's going to back away from that one. They're actually going for a flanking maneuver, so Razor Edge, this fight is not done yet, but Team Liquid, we're talking about that, they could get caught out in that ditch, and you can see cars ablaze, a grenade has come in, knocked them down. I think Samti actually was caught out by, Adusi just stole it away.
That's a very cheeky steal. Uber trying to stay alive. How long can he go for? We will find out. Tixu's going to lob the nade up and over. He'll scrape the barrel of a point. That could be rather close. Head down, gun up. You're going to survive this one, fella. Otherwise, FaZe are out in 16th. Ooh, wanted. I tell you what, Razor Edge, they love their 24s, though. How many times do we see them sniping?
Yeah, Wanted and Fast Rail going at it once again. Gaxi was naded down there. MBS, though, is going up for a flank around the side, so Wanted's got to be careful he doesn't get caught out by that pressure. Tixu continues to try and find Uber in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens. Trying to go hunting for him. Uber's got himself a nade ready and waiting, so he might catch him. That's a well-cooked one, but it's gone too far.
Continue through.
And that's it. 16th phase.
Dear.
Yeah. Fast Rail, oh my word, naded to oblivion by MBS and Miruku. Wanted still continuing to try and push, but now it's a 3-on-3.
It's a good job for NIP. They went behind and took the higher ground, if you would say. MBS can overextend to his right-hand side, because if he does, there are shots coming in from the back lines. D8 take another member of M19. That's the second one now for that, unfortunately. The Lops are disengaged in this fight, and that's okay. They're on a bit of higher ground, and they'll take the wall as well. We move across to M19, who is still holding on for dear life here and trying to battle away from 15th place.
Yeah, and they're actually getting third-partied by ENCE as well, so ENCE catching them aside. They're catching everyone. They've caught Beautiful Death and Sixmo down. They've also picked up an M19 member, I believe. Constantine hits the dirt, tries to keep himself alive, but they all need to keep on moving. They need to try and get out this circle, which is why you see the Wanderer in a desperate run down the hill. He's going straight into the gunfire of Digital Athletics, and it's going to be a simple kill for him. Na'Vi and Winstrike continuing to battle. Now, Na'Vi have managed to get to the circle's edge, but they're right on top of G2, and you feel G2 are just going to come out and drop the hammer.
ENCE's position is insanely powerful right now. Basically, the fields act as a moat around a castle. It's just denying anyone access to them, because if you drive up, they could just get you at range. They can look outside the windows and completely demolish you before you even get close. I mean, dependent where this circle goes.
Oh, Gustav called Miruku, and that's give Wanted an easy frag. That was a long range. You can see it's coming from down there. They're in that ditch. They're continuing to lay that fire down, and this is the beauty of the ditch. Nobody shoots at you. You just third-party everyone, and it's giving them knock after knock. There you go. Wanted down this time. Cup of Magic down.
Wow.
Suddenly, Razor Edge lose 2 from the ridge and Snark the last man standing. NIP down to 1 as well. I can't see it's MBS is the last man standing for them. And there it is. NIP out in 15th place, and everybody that's chasing will be looking at thinking, this is our moment. 11 points for the Jokers, but they're in all sorts of trouble as they try and come out. CrowCrowd absolutely battering them on the edge.
Na'Vi will be the next ones who have to defend that ridge line. M19's eliminated. CrowCrowd come outside. It's time for them to fight and do some work.
Winstrike follow.
This is what I mean. You're coming out of that blue. You're going to be heavily damaged. Na'Vi are literally playing border patrol. Now G2 might realize there's a fight here. They've heard the gunshots and they want to get involved.
They've already been involved. They've just
been picking apart.
They've just downed Winstrike completely. You can see Dimmy is the last man standing for them.
Nid.
G2 came out and bodied them. Meanwhile, the Jokers, it's the Tab. He's the last man standing in the blue. He's gone. It's 13th place for Winstrike, 12th place, I think, for Jokers. So everybody that's trying to chase right now is not getting the points. This is a big chance for the likes of ENCE, Team Liquid, and G2 to really stretch the lead again. Red Diamonds, they're sending it right now. They're going to go straight to the same ditch that Team Liquid and Vitality occupy. See them in the picture down there as G2 also press onto Navi.
They're already ready and waiting with open arms. Gene's looking down the barrel. The guns come out, but Senpai's down. Where's the support here? Jempty. My friend, take a look up. There's another one you have to deal with before going any kind of a res.
Wow.
Just a little bit too late. I thought they would have shot them on arrival, but they weren't looking for them. Ira, are you okay, mate?
Yeah, he's just taking a roll. He's all right. He'll be all right. It's still going. It's still going. It's like watching Neymar is going across the field there. Just keeps on rolling.
I don't watch rugby.
Hey, if only. TSM, though, meanwhile, by the way, who are one of the chasing pack, are going to be loving this because Team Liquid are going down. CrowCrowd are coming in now as well. They're going to come straight in around the side. Navi actually get caned down. Pokemon going big. CrowCrowd pull up. ENCE are just going to try and get themselves a field day here. G2 are sending it. They're going for the same ditch as well. They're pushing it on TSM. It is carnage right now as they all try and find themselves a home.
And for TSM, they have to stand the line. They have to hold the ditch that they've had for so long, but G2 are knocking on the door. It looks like TSM actually might either regroup or either that or Gustav is going for a big boy play and going for a crate this late in the game. That's an arm I'm seeing him picked up as well, so that's a big boy gun. He's collected that one, the level 3 gear, and you need that to be able to defend this ridgeline because you're going to have open ground teams that might get a line of sight on you. He's going to have to do some work with that big gun.
If anyone's a big boy, it is the tower of power that is Wookie. Knights, so moving on the backside of Vitality. How many times have these teams clashed? And I was joking with them earlier, you know, we had Reels listening to Jazz's music earlier on in the green room area. So these guys, they're all friends. Everybody knows each other. But by God, Vitality and the Knights have been clashing day after day after day. ENCE, meanwhile, nading CrowCrowd in all sorts of manner of trouble, sitting in his hay bales. ENCE are looking for a big kill game here.
Mikas did step out, but G2 just forced him back. Vitality have to hold the line. They've got the Knights on the back door. The Red Diamonds might get involved in this one. Reels, unfortunately, will be the first one to drop. Kramer trying answers back. Hits one, looks for Monkey in the... Blue's going to force them here. That's the problem. They're already weak. They'll try and go in with the nades. Gustav picks up Ira. Digital Athletics down in 9th position. Wookie gets answer back off that with a flush instantly.
Yep. He was done and dusted and taken down. It's a 3-on-3 now. The Knights and Vitality took one apiece. Red Diamonds taking this opportunity to try and move into the ditch into a little bit of cover because the circle has shifted. It's looking good for Gustav once again, and now ENCE finally have to move out of their comfort zone.
Do you know, literally, ENCE is the team, in my opinion, that this favors because the Knights will draw the attention of Vitality. Red Diamonds are still trying to get involved. It's going to be rough to get into this circle because now this fort that they've had for so long, this amazing space, they have to take the fight, eliminate CrowCrowd, and then get inside the circle.
That hay bale stack. There's a couple of little, you know, there's little hay bale shacks. You can see one on the right of your screen there. Just a couple of those little, what's the word I'm after? I can't think. Barns, I guess, technically, but they're not really barns. But either way, there is a barnstormer going on here as CrowCrowd continue to try and lay the fire down, but Squidgy picks one up. Meanwhile, the Knights, oh, they're in all sorts of trouble. Monkey's going to come around. He's going to get Shadow back in his feet. Voxic's trying to get Drayden up. There goes CrowCrowd, answered by one big grenade from Rustanmar. That's the danger when you're all close together. And while that was happening, Thriftly moved for it. That's how strong ENCE feel. They can take a fight on with a team and maneuver for the better position. 2
or 3 down by one grenade. Been stacked like that is sometimes just, it's not worth it. I mean, they had to move. They thought they could essentially just gatekeep them and hold them back, but it didn't work. The onslaught from ENCE happened. Trifeli moves up to the middle. Now G2 want to find the remnants of ENCE just on this ridge line. Oh, that's the orb. Job done.
Yeah, Gustav's managed to pick that back up off Wookie, hasn't he?
I think he originally picked it up because I think Wookie's running a 24, so there's 2 snipers on there. Wookie's out of the game, but Gustav could have a field day here and just protect that on his own.
Oh, Razor Edge down.
Edge gone.
But look at Snark. He managed to get Udia and Brexco down for G2 there. So Chris is going to have to come up the road and try and help him out. But Gustav is watching. If Gustav can catch Chris out and he's taking shots on him as well as Michael, he could be all sorts of trouble, and he will do. And G2 go down in 6th place. He was the last man. There was 2 down, but he couldn't get in there. And that damage was done by Razor Edge, and they're going to steal them kills.
Rory from range causes some problems. Trifeli still, that's the 2nd time. That's actually the knock and the flush onto Michael. So TSM will now down to 2.
Red Diamonds are moving. They're coming up side here. They now fancy it. Best of Luck's getting involved. You can see the shots coming into the side of Drayden. There come the nades. They've been sat waiting for this to play out, waiting for Vitality and Knights to knock each other out. And now they're trying to get a couple of shots down. Drayden prone, catches the head of Best of Luck. He's forced back down as Aduzi looks to try and land the shot. Nasus catches Drayden out though, does the damage and can flush it from that angle. And now Voxic, the last man standing for the Knights.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate scenario is that Red Diamonds cause all these teams inside this compound an abundance of problems.
Oh, Gustav.
Did he just
smashed Mikaz
Okay.
completely.
Well, there you go then.
Well, now he's going to move in the backside of Trifoli. Can he try and finish him out here? That's a horrible spot because he can get caught by the nades from Gustav. Gustav has a brilliant angle on him.
They know he's there because Trifoli took out Michael earlier on, so they have the information of what gun he's got, and they know the man can snipe himself, so it's going to be pretty much a one-on-one for that little mini compound.
Rory's going to have the triangle set for him, so he's being forced backwards, and then Rory's going to have the angle with the Mini 14 to catch Trifoli as he backs away. Red Diamonds in the distance, by the way. They still hold that ditch, so it's really down to Vitality and the Knights to try and get themselves involved and try and get out of there. Kill-wise, it's looking good for TSM and ENCE.
You still have this battle going on, three-way up in the north. Vitality, the Knights. Red Diamonds, depends who's your victim next. Where do you go? Do you wait for everyone to come down to the mountainside, or do you push on in? It's a really open ground, and you've got two members of TSM holding two different angles. I mean, the north is completely empty.
Fox has got no meds. Look at that. He's having to bandage. He's down to 27 hit points, trying to gain as much as he can, but he gets an angle off Best Luck. Oh, the blue hits him in the back, though, and that was going to be the end of him. Rory and also found Trifoli at the same time, so it's going to be TSM, Vitality, and Red Diamonds, all with two players alive.
So Gustav still with that all, might be able to pick up some members, potentially. Rory can just tap fire away everyone and feed this information all the way across to Gustav. This could be a double-digit figure kill game here for TSM, but they need to make sure they don't get split between two individual fights. They have arguably the best position on the map, but the problem is because they're so heavily split, if one of them goes down, they're unresable.
He's just took the AK off of the body and actually switched to an M4, so I wonder if he's just ditched the AWM there. Thought, okay, it's too close range, probably don't really need it now, might just go for the shots instead. Rory, meanwhile, holding the fire, so now he's looted out. Trifoli finds the backpack sticking out a little too far of Monkey as he tries to work with the smoke. Gustav just holding, making sure Red Diamonds don't push.
The arm's still in play. He must have just been run out of ammunition and gone for that M4 and kitted it up, but he's got level 3 gear. Now they need Red Diamonds to make a mistake. Red Diamonds aren't showing the face yet because they have their ditch, but as soon as they come out of here, it's open ground, right?
Yeah, everybody's just...
Oh, Gustav. Oh, he's just... So long as he doesn't overextend and get caught off guard, this could essentially win all... Okay, he's got him.
Medusa's in the car. Gustav spotted it, yep.
Good retreat there. Not bother just getting it. You know, he was waiting for it. He was playing patiently.
Oh, and he's caught Monkey out. There you go. The arm pops out. Bam. Straight down. No messing. Behind the tree. Don't think his teammate's going to be able to get and help him either, Nasus. So it looks like Monkey might be done. He's going to get flushed out. 9 kills for TSM now as they're looking to try and take control. Look at Gustav in the distance on the left side. He's the one that's facing the Red Diamonds as they come over. Rory holding the angle.
Yeah, Rory needs to reposition. Not only is he out of the circle, but he knows that
it's going to force them to peek. They're going to peek for this.
Is in basically in a 2 versus 1, so this could be a bait and switch.
Yeah, he's going to force them to peek, and he backed away too far. And Best of Luck catches him down. Aduzi sprays down onto Rory. Rory very low as well. There's no way he can get in. They're going to flush out the kill on towards Gustav as they push around. Rory's over peeking once again. He can't heal himself up. Nasus is watching this all play out. Nasus has been gifted a crate.
A vehicle. You got to run, run, run. That's repositioned.
Nasus has got a clean shot on him if he peeks, but he's not going for it.
I'd be stunned if he got this med off.
That crate, by the way, unlooted, that's in the middle.
He just land in front of him, give him a bit of a...
Nasus is right next to Nasus. I think
the thing is Rory knows, doesn't he? Because he's been shooting at them for a while now, right?
Nasus is not even looking, so Rory totally open. If Nasus peeked around that corner, he would see very easily Rory there. And the Red Diamonds, now it's theirs to win. They have the high ground. The center point is with Rory, though, but he's down low.
The idea was there, I understand what TSM were trying to do, but they just left it a little bit too late. They should have got back together much quicker. They got together at a point where it allowed Red Diamonds to basically regroup and
the problem is because Nasus had been just sat prone. He doesn't know how this is just played out, so he doesn't really know the positions of everyone, which is why he's looking around. He's like, there's a car here. Now he sees them up top of the field. Yeah, they see him. Bam, that's a tap. I wonder if they've picked up the arm. I wonder.
I think at this level of the game, there's probably no reason to.
Oh, he just took a hit from the blue. What are you doing, man? The blue's on your back. It's a level 9, and I've just trying to heal through it. That's what he wants to do. He gets the heal off. Isn't enough time, and he's going to go down to the blue, so that's going to be Vitality. He knew it. Down to 3rd, and it leaves TSM in a 2v1. Rory, can he get a glimpse of a doozy?
This
Tries
could
to
be
go for the nade.
this could be a
He's
clutch
throwing at
nade.
the hay belt. He's going the other side. Yeah, a doozy's holding the angle. Look at that. Second nade's coming out. Second nade's cooked. It's cooked. It's a long cook. It's going straight into best block. Won't get it. Doesn't matter. A doozy strikes, and the Red Diamonds come out on top once again.